All right, friends. In today's homework assignment, we are going to be looking at inequalities and working through some problems that we have done before, but mainly focusing on this understanding of inequalities that we covered today in class. So the first question says, at the book sale, all books cost less than $5. And it says, what is the most expensive a book could be? Well, if we know that things can be less than $5, I know that books can be part of a whole. And because I know that, right, the cost at least of that, I know that the highest possible price would be $4.99 because I know that that's less than 5, right? So $4.99 is less than 5, and it's the most expensive that a book could be if it has to be less than $5. We're going to write an inequality to represent the cost of books at the sale. So if we want to write an inequality for this, we can use the price of a book. So I'm going to use P is less than 5, right? So that's my inequality. The price of a book is less than $5. I could also use B is less than 5. Both of those work out just as long as you understand how to write this in this mathematical form. Draw a number line to represent the inequality. So for this one, we're going to draw a number line. Let's say that this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now know that 5 is not included in the price, so you need to have an open circle there, and any value that's less than that to 0 is perfectly fine. Now, technically, they're probably not going to sell you, right, a book for 0 unless they're just giving them away, which is a possibility. But, you know, teach their own. The second part says Ivy started her homework before 7 p.m. and finished her homework after 8. So if she started before 7 and finished after 8, we know that she's at least worked for an hour. So we want let H represent the number of hours Ivy worked on her homework. So we're going to decide if each statement is definitely true, definitely not true, or possibly true. Explain your reasoning. So H is greater than 1. We know this is definitely true. Because she started before 7 and finished after 8. For the second one, H is greater than 2. It's a possibility, so possibly true. It's possibly true for this one because it just depends on when they started before 7 and when they finished. So possibly true. So I'm saying possibly true because they could have started at 6 and ended after 8. That is a possibility. Whether it's completely true is not, because it could also be the other way around, that they started, 6:59 and finished at 8:01, right? So that would make it, that's why it's possibly true. H is less than 1. This is definitely not true. Because they started, or Ivy started before 7 and ended after 8. And then H is less than 2. This is possibly true again. Possibly true depending on the time started. So I said possibly true depending on the time started and finished. So if they started, within, like, that's going to give them less than 2 hours. So between 1, greater than 1 and less than 2, it would work. So the next one says match the mathematical statements with statements written in English. All of the statements are true. So for this, I want you to write the letter that corresponds with the number. So it says the number 15 is further away from 0 than the number 12 on the number line. So the number 15 is further away from 0 than the number 12 on the number line. So if we're comparing numbers on a number line, we're really comparing their distance from 0. And in this situation, we're looking for two things that have absolute value symbols around them. And so in this instance, I'm looking for 15, the absolute value of 15, and the absolute value of 12. So for this one, I'm looking for, and 15 has to be greater than that. So this one doesn't have two absolute value symbols. So this one, so number 1 is going to be C, because it states the absolute value of 15 is greater than the absolute value of 12. So the distance of 15 from 0 is greater than the distance of 12 on the number line. That's what it's saying, so that I agree with. The number negative 12 is a distance of 12 units away from 0 on the number line. So the number 12, negative 12, saying the absolute value of negative 12 is 12 units away from 0 on the number line. So it's telling you that the absolute value of negative 12 equals 12 is what this is saying. So this one is going to match with D. The distance between negative 12 and 0 on the number line is greater. So the distance between negative 12 and 0 on the number line is greater. So this one is also referring to distance. So I'm going to say that the absolute value of negative 12 is greater than negative 15. So the absolute value, so this one I would say is A, because it's talking about the absolute value is greater than negative 15, and that's what it's saying. The numbers 12 and negative 12 are the same distance away from 0 on the number line. They're referring to distance here, so they're saying the absolute value of 12 and negative 12 are exactly, they're equal to each other. And so we're looking for two things that have absolute value, 12 and negative 12. That's going to be F. The number negative 15 is less than the number negative 12. So we're just looking, the number negative 15 is less than the number negative 12. So this one is B. And then the number 12 is greater than the number negative 12. 12 is greater than, so E, 12 is greater than negative 12. All right? And then this one, it says, are you ready for more? And the joke in the class is, no, I'm not ready for more. And I find that to be, hilarious, because all of you are capable and you're always ready for more in my class. So it says, find 3 different numbers that A could be if the absolute value of A is less than 5. Plot these points on the number line, then plot as many other possibilities for A as you can. Remember that the absolute value tells us that how far away from 0 that number is. So we're looking for numbers that are technically less than 5, right? So that's what we're looking for, is any number that's less than 5. So 4 would work. Negative 4 would also work, right? Because both of those give you 4, and that's still less than 5. 3 would work, negative 3. So if you're, so to give you a good comparison here, to give you an inequality statement, any number, right, from negative 5 to 5 would give you a number that falls within this. So you're looking for any range of values here, because absolute value just tells us how far from 0 that number is. And I put an open circle or an unshaded circle there to tell you that 5 is not included in that statement. And that is basically our homework for today.